The message came through just as I was setting the table. Don't wait for dinner. I'm on call tonight. Simple. Routine. Harmless, if you didn't look too closely. But something about it, the timing, the tone, the fact that she'd sent it instead of calling, sat wrong in my gut. Emily was a nurse. On call meant unpredictability, exhaustion, and long nights spent under hospital lights. It was something I'd accepted years ago. But lately, the late shifts had become too frequent, too convenient. And the warmth in her texts had cooled into something mechanical. I stared at the glowing message for a while before replying, okay. Be safe. No kiss emoji. No heart. Just words. I told myself it didn't matter, but deep down I knew it did. Dinner sat untouched on the table, a plate of roast chicken she'd said she was craving all week. I sat there in the dim light, fork idle in my hand, my mind spinning. For months I'd been fighting the feeling that something had changed between us. The laughter we used to share had turned into polite nods and small talk. Her phone lived face down on the counter now. And every time I asked if she was okay, she'd smile and say she was just tired. Tonight, something inside me cracked. I grabbed my keys. The hospital was 20 minutes away. My hands gripped the wheel too tight, the road lights smearing through the windshield. Part of me screamed to turn around, to stop being paranoid. The other part, the quieter, colder one, told me I already knew the truth. When I reached the hospital, the parking lot was half empty. I pulled into a far corner and sat for a while, watching the entrance. Nurses in scrubs came and went. No sign of her. I checked the time, 8:45 p.m. I called her. No answer. I tried again. Straight to voicemail. The knot in my stomach twisted tighter. After a few minutes, I got out and walked toward the building, my heart pounding in my chest. Inside, the air smelled of antiseptic and stale coffee. A nurse at the front desk smiled politely. Hi, I'm looking for Emily Carter. Is she on duty tonight? She checked the schedule. Doesn't look like it. She's not on the roster. Something in me went cold. Are you sure? She said she was on call. The nurse frowned slightly, scanning the monitor again. Nope, she's off tonight. I managed to thank her, my voice barely steady, and turned back toward the parking lot. The cool night air hit me like a slap. Not on call. I stood there for a long moment, staring at nothing. Then I got into the car and just sat there, the engine idling. My mind was loud, too loud. The disbelief, the anger, the stupid, desperate hope that maybe there was an explanation. But deep down, the truth had already settled like lead in my chest. I opened the tracking app on my phone. We'd installed it years ago for safety, back when things were good. I hadn't used it in months. But when I refreshed her location, a red pin dropped, not at the hospital, but across town. A hotel. Room lights flickered through my windshield as I pulled up 15 minutes later. I parked far enough away that no one would notice me. Her car was there, tucked into a corner space. My hands trembled on the steering wheel. I didn't go inside. I just watched. A little after 10, the lobby doors slid open. Emily stepped out. She wasn't in scrubs. She was wearing jeans, a light jacket, her hair down, the way she used to wear it when we went out together. And beside her was a man. He was tall, confident, wearing the kind of smirk that made my blood boil. She laughed at something he said, touching his arm. The sound, her laugh, felt like a knife. I could have confronted them right there. I could have yelled, demanded answers. But instead, I stayed in the shadows, my chest tight, my throat burning. Watching them climb into his car felt like watching a stranger drive off with my life. They didn't see me follow. He took her to a small restaurant downtown, one we used to love. I sat in the car across the street, watching through the window as they ordered wine, smiled, and leaned too close over the table. The red candlelight flickered between them. I remembered our first date there. She'd worn the same shy smile when I told her I was falling for her. Now she was smiling at someone else. By the time they left, the rain had started. They walked under one umbrella, laughing like lovers. I followed at a distance until they pulled into another parking lot, a quiet residential area, The kind where the streetlights hum and the houses look too perfect. His house, I guessed. When they went inside, I sat there for nearly an hour. I don't know what I was waiting for. Maybe courage. Maybe clarity. Maybe both. The clock hit midnight before I finally moved. I got out, walked to her car, and placed a folded note under the windshield wiper. Then I took off my wedding ring and set it on the dashboard. Inside the note, I'd written only 2 sentences. You said you were on call. You weren't wrong, I just answered it first. I didn't wait to see her reaction. I drove home in silence, the rain pounding harder now, blurring the world outside. When I got back, the house was quiet. Her perfume still lingered in the bedroom, soft and familiar, but now it made my stomach turn. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the empty space beside me. For hours, I replayed everything, every lie, every excuse, every small moment I'd brushed off. The way she'd started showering right after coming home. The sudden bursts of guilt-driven affection. The half-truths wrapped in tired smiles. By the time her car pulled into the driveway, the sky was pale with dawn. I heard the door open, her footsteps hesitating in the hallway. "James," she called softly. I didn't answer. When she entered the bedroom, her face was pale, wet from the rain. She saw the half-packed suitcase by the door and froze. "Where are you going?" she whispered. "Somewhere I don't have to guess anymore." Her lips parted, but no words came. She looked down, shaking, guilt painted across her face like a confession. "Please," she said finally, voice breaking. "I can explain." I stood, grabbed my bag, and walked past her. At the door, I stopped. "You already did," I said quietly. "You just didn't realize I was listening." She reached for me, but I stepped back. For the first time in months, I felt something that almost resembled peace. As I drove away, the sun began to rise. The road stretched ahead, wide and empty. My wedding ring lay in the passenger seat, catching the light. It looked almost beautiful in the morning glow, like something that had once meant forever.